Good morning. I'm Monsignor Chris Vasko, the pastor of the Historic Church of St. Patrick in Toledo, Ohio. And today I'm doing a little presentation on St. Brigid of Kildare. Many people are very familiar with St. Patrick, if nothing more than on March the 17th when they run down to an Irish pub and have some green beer. Very few people are as familiar with St. Brigid of Kildare, who was not quite a contemporary of St. Patrick, but lived very early on in the Christian conversion of the island of Ireland, and amazingly enough was perhaps far more influential in the conversion of Ireland than even Patrick. It was the great convents, the women religious, who so often were in charge of all of the processes, the programs, the exciting things that were happening in Ireland that brought about the conversion of the Irish kings and then the Irish people. Kildare was one of the great centers of religious learning. The great convent that Brigid established there was a hotbed of religious formation of young women who remained in the convent, but also young boys who went off then and as adults became those who were convinced of Christianity and its power to change the way Ireland was forced to live, I suppose you'd say, by the culture of small little tribes and the violence that happened as one tribe and clan tried to overpower the neighbors. And it was through the influence of women like Brigid of Kildare that much of that stopped. And the great system of Ireland's counties, the great Ireland's districts, and ultimately of Ireland as the most Catholic nation on earth came about because of Brigid of Kildare. She's a famous woman in her own right. She discovered that there was great persecution of Christians, and as a result, they were not allowed to use Christian symbols and all of the things that we would take so for granted today. You couldn't have a big fancy church like we have. You can't have crucifixes on top of the church. You can't carry your rosary. You can't carry your prayer book. And so Brigid was trying to find a way to ennoble the reality of the cross, the great symbol and sign of how Jesus saved his people, the love that he poured out by dying for us on the cross. And so she would take rushes and simple, as we zoom in on that, you might see that it has some strands that would be tied together at the ends and woven together in order to make a cross. And while it certainly appeared to the Christians as the symbol of Jesus Christ, to those who were not Christian and who were the ones who were doing the persecuting, they had no idea what that was. And so it became a powerful secret sign that then became the most public sign of Jesus Christ. And so in the very early stages of Christianity in ancient Ireland, you would have seen the beautiful, magnificent Brigid's cross, and it was a way to help people to sense a community when the community couldn't be community, when they had to be somewhat separated by the reality of those who wanted to persecute them. And so Brigid of Kildare, perhaps far more influential even than St. Patrick, and perhaps someone you may want to look up on the internet, find out a little bit more about her. Later on in the spring, when the flowers are much more in bloom, her little shrine over here will be alive with flowers. Her particular flower was the anemone, a wildflower in Ireland, a simple little bloom that would pop up around the time of celebrating the resurrection of Jesus Christ, a sign of new life, a sign of new beginning, a sign that Jesus Christ cares about his people. Behind is the oak tree. It was a little early in spring to see some leaves, but her tree is the oak, and it was the oak is a great power of strength, the great notion of the immensity of the gods. And because it was the symbol of alien gods, pagan gods, Brigid wanted to convert it into something that Christianity could use. And so she began to talk about the dignity of God, the strength of God, the power of God, the overarching presence of God. And so the oak tree became associated with St. Brigid. Take a look, internet, find her, and perhaps do a little bit more research and come to know the great saints of Ireland. You'll discover, if you start reading about Brigid, a whole lot of other really amazing men and women who did so much, not only for the conversion of Ireland, but for the conversion of most of Europe. The Irish monastic communities were just alive with missionary and evangelization efforts that changed the face of Europe. Take a look, do some research, and enjoy, and thanks for tuning in today.